Okay, so welcome to our Azure Under the Hood webinar. Let me first introduce myself. So my name is Robert Turnšek. I'm coming from company NIL, and currently I'm in the role of IT architect. So today we'll cover the Azure Active Directory. So basically we have three big topics. The first part, let's say the first 10 minutes, we have some slides to set up the environment and to show you what's the positioning of the Azure Active Directory. And then we'll go to the demo, which I prepared in the Azure. So everything is done in the Azure. So let's say we are using the tool which we are, let's say, preaching here. What's the idea behind? So we all know that we have to have identities. So identities everywhere, accessing everywhere. So you probably know that typically you have some username at your company. It's maybe in the most case scenario is local Active Directory. Then you have some emails in the cloud and different applications. So the idea here is to join together all the let's say have a common username and the password. So for the different services, even from the different sources. Primarily because this is Microsoft solution, we are talking about the integrating of Microsoft Active Directory. So we're talking about Active Directory, which comes with the Windows Server 2012 R2, or even let's say with Windows 2008, and which will come in Windows 2016. But we are talking also about the other identity providers. So it's not necessary just to have Microsoft. The installation which we'll be doing today is based on Microsoft ID, but other sources like Novell, eDirectory, LDAP can be also used as a custom identity providers. Okay, so who access this? So access this from the PCs and devices. So we are not talking about just the laptops. Talking about other devices, and everything is let's say connected together with Microsoft, with Windows Azure AD. So typically what you do in the first step is you synchronize the Windows Server Active Directory to Azure AD, and then other applications, let's say SaaS applications, so either Microsoft or third party like Salesforce, like you will see the list later on, can use these credentials to access the applications itself. So the idea here is also not just the access the applications, but also the provisioning and deprovisioning of the application. Let's say, for example, in our company, when somebody comes in, we create the Active Directory account, and then also we create a lot of accounts with other partners and principals. So you can imagine that these accounts are created, but somebody would ask what when someone leaves the company, do we also delete all the accounts? And for example, one of our principals, you get the account there. So with this account, you are also capable of ordering the equipment. Of course, you can specify the delivery location, but the bill always comes to nil. So you have to take care about this kind of situation, about identities. So for different nice graphic here. So what's the Azure Active Directory? So the idea is that you have one identity and access management cloud solution. So it's based in cloud. It cannot be on-prem currently. So it combines, as I said here, directory services. So not just directory service, so not AD. So also identity governance, application access, and and also development that third-party application vendors can enhance their applications. And it comes in, of course, in two different variations. A lot of capabilities. Everything what I will show today is available in free version. So everybody can use it. So you don't need any special license for that. You don't need any special subscription. You can create an Azure subscription, Azure subscription, and then create a directory inside and use it as you wish. Of course, there is Active Directory Premium, which gives you additional services and additional capabilities, which will not be covered today, but it will be covered in one of the next sessions we have by my colleague Jan. So as I said, idea, many application, one identity repository. So one identity, again, managed identities and access to cloud application and also to the on-prem application. And of course, one of the big part here is preventing the unauthorized usage. So there is, let's say, for example, a quite nice, let's say, add-on. So it's two-factor authentication. A lot of us are using this two-factor authentication with these key fobs, which have a 1 minute, let's say, change of password. But problem with these key fobs is that you have to use them every time. Here in the Azure we are using Azure AD. You can create it, or it's already out of the box created that in that way that only when you access the service, the solution from the suspicious place, you will be prompted for additional authentication. For example, if I log in the morning from Slovenia and 2 hours later on from different parts of the world, this is probably not me. So it could be I could fly there, but maybe it's not a bad idea that in that case I'm asked to protect, to give additional information, which is usually I get an SMS to predefined phone and just enter the code which I've got on my mobile phone. And of course, there is also one important part is self-service. So currently, let's say if you have just Microsoft AD, how can your users, I don't know, change the passwords so they can do, let's say, pressing Ctrl-Delete on the machine? But what if they only have iPads and this kind of stuff? So they only use applications. So the Azure AD also provides the self-service portal for changing the passwords, changing the group membership, and of course everything depends on the user rights. This is the list of this is the small list, I would say, of the SaaS applications available which you can use with Azure AD. So with these applications, you are able to provision users there and also use a single sign-on in different let's say ways. So how this is done with the Windows Server Active Directory? So the first step, you typically have to have a Windows Server Active Directory. So that's, let's say you already have. And then you have a subscription on the right side. We have a Windows Azure Active Directory, which you get with the subscription. You create an intermediate machine where you install, it's called DIRSync or Active Directory Connect. And this application then connects first to your source, so Active Directory in this case, and exports all the user information, all the group information. If you wish, it can also export password hash. So as you probably know, there is no clear password in the Active Directory. So password hash can be also exported. So you see here hash sync, and then this is synced to the Windows Azure Active Directory. And as soon as you have this set up, you can use your username and the password from the Active Directory to access all the SaaS applications and everything which is supported with the Windows Azure Directory. With this, the first solution, you type in your password to Windows Azure infrastructure. In the second, so you still see there is still DIRSync. So this DIRSync will be the first part of the demo I will show. Then you can say, okay, I'm a little bit more security conscious, and I don't want that my users type passwords to Windows Azure infrastructure. I want for my users to type passwords always only locally. So in this case, I set up the so-called ADFS, so Active Directory Federated Services, which then gives me opportunity that as soon my users start typing the password and the domain behind. So in this scenario, username format is always like email. It looks like email, so it's @domain. So as soon the domain is entered, and the domain, and in this case the domain is federated. So in this case, as soon as this is entered, you are redirected to your company servers, back to your on-prem servers. Of course, these on-prem servers can be accessible via VPN if you are, let's say, a little bit more security cautious. So you have to, let's say, first set up the VPN, and then you can authenticate, or you can use the Adfs proxies, which you put in the DMZ, so that they are available through the internet for, let's say, your users when your users roam on the internet. So that's in the let's say in the nutshell what Azure Active Directory is. So if any questions are already, just type them into the chat, and we'll answer them at the end. And now we are going to the demo. So for the demo, I set up the several. So for the demo, I set up several Active Directory domains, because otherwise we could not show it in half an hour. So these are okay. I have a remote desktops opened to the Windows Azure. So I have one public DNS server, and you see that the domain I have is called robbie.si. That's my private domain. So it's publicly available. So I can also get the certificate, digital certificate, which is it for ADFS. And I created inside 4 different labs. So we have an AD domain lab 01, lab 02, lab 03 to lab 04. And I will show you in the different stages. And I installed the whole procedure, the DIRSync, the ADFS, in different stages in these different labs. So the reason why I did in that way is that installation of DIRSync takes approximately 10 minutes. So if we would go step by step and then waiting for installation to finish, we have just 10 minutes of pause where I would have to talk something and explain you. So this is the here I'm logged into the Azure portal. Those who work with Azure, you probably know that there are it's a new portal, and there is also the old portal. The Active Azure, Azure Active Directory is available through the old portal. So either you know this URL by your heart, or you just type in the old Azure portal. So you are logged in, waiting for entries to load. So I'm logged in with one user which have full access to this subscription. So I can do whatever in this subscription. So what I have here is just directories. So there is nothing, no virtual machines, just directories. So if I go to the let's say all items, you see I have 3 directories. So as I said, lab 01, lab 2, lab 3 are already, this is active, this is Azure Active Directory. This, at least this, and also nil directory, which is okay, common for all nil subscriptions, which let's say is just here, but we will not use it. This is, let's say, I would say not common scenario. When you will have this in your environment, you will only have 1 directory. This is just here for demo purposes. So I will create another directory. So for example, I will go here to 1 and new directory, custom create. So you will see how easy. So you can create a new directory or use existing, give it some name. So it will have lab 04. Domain name, it has to be unique. That's one domain name which you have to create. So if it's there already taken, so it's worldwide, it's always on Microsoft.com. That's the first step you do. And then you select the region. So we are from Slovenia, just select the region. The region you select is that the Microsoft then plays the directory to this region. It takes few minutes, not just few minutes, it's created quite fast. So directory is created. If I go back here, so I have now lab 4, you see? So in this case, so firstly, the first part is that, let's say, I can create users here locally. So these are the so-called cloud users. So currently, it's just this administrator. If I want to add a new user, let's say it can be either from our organization, or you can use also from other sources, from other Active Directories. But in this case, we'll create in our here. So we'll create this. We will need this user later on. I call it DIRSync. We'll need this user to synchronize the on-prem directory. We just give it some name, nothing special. And different roles. So user is normal role, global admin. We need for synchronization, we need global role. And as always, you have global admins. You have to specify alternative email for password recovery. This is minimum. And next, and then you have create, and you will get initial password. Remember this password, and I will then use the browser with the in private browsing that I can log in as this user. So again, I go to Azure Microsoft.com, log into Portal. So we have dear sync at lab 20904 on microsoft.com and the top secret password. And now I have to change the password. So every user has to change the password to something they only know. Update password and sign in. So one of the things I want to show you here, you probably also heard for Office 365. So as soon I'm logged into this account here, so I have this, you see, dear sync, I will open another tab here and open a portal to Office, office.com. So you see, these two directories are really the same. So if you have Office 365 or you have an Azure, you have the same directory. So for those who know who are managing the Office 365, this is the Office 365 admin. So okay, since I'm administrator, it would be good to set up some more password recovery procedures, but I will not do it here because we don't have time for that. So I see the same users. So you see it's the same Active Directory. So this is let's say the first usage of your directory. Currently, our directory is empty because we didn't synchronize anything from our on-prem directory. Okay, so we'll go back. We leave this here. So we go back and we go back to our new Azure Active Directory. So we have to add some domain which we will use. So in this case, we choose the domain lab04. Lab04 like this. Be aware here, I don't know if it's a bug or if it's a feature. If you select this check mark, then you will not get the next screen, so you'll not be able to verify the domain, so you don't do it. Even though we will do the single sign-on later on, but don't do it immediately. So we need this information. We have to now we have to prove that we are the owner of the domain. So we go to our public domain server. So you see here, it says enter this as a TST record in your DNS. So in the DNS, who is responsible for lab04, robi.si. So this is our DNS. And we need to create another new record. So we have txt. And okay, done. So let's say refresh. So you see it's here. If I go back and do verify, if everything was is okay, I should get domain. You see, successfully verified domain. So now I proved that I'm the owner of this domain, and this is the first step. So you see, it's verified, and this is the first step. I can start now doing the Active Directory integration. So the next steps here is I have to select that I want to activate this directory sync. So for this my directory, I want to integrate it with external identity source. So we have to wait for a few minutes. Again, you can see here it's happening, changing status. And you see now the status is changed. So now the next step is to to the machine where you will install this as Azure Ada Connect or DirSync, you have to download the binaries. I already have binaries here, and one remark here. I'm doing this. I'm doing everything here on domain controller. In the production, you would have at least, let's say, you would have more machines. So you have your domain controllers, then you would have one machine for DirSync, and you would probably have two machines for internal ADFS and the load balancer in front, and then you would have probably two machines for ADFS proxies in the DNZ. So this would be the normal setup. Okay. So now I will install the same binary. It's there. So it's on one of my local machines here. So Azure AD Connect. So you get the wizard, and if you do the express setup, you have two setups, either express or custom. So express means that you, let's say, replicate all the users, and that you also replicate the password hash inside the cloud. You can also always change this afterwards. So first step will be that we will do the express setup. So you have to agree. Next. Okay. So either install. So now it installs everything, and so it will take 10 minutes. So I have another Active Directory, Azure Active Directory already prepared where everything this is installed. So we can immediately continue after. Otherwise, we would wait for SQL Server Express to install and all the stuff. So let's now go to the lab 03. Okay, so I was logged out here. So in this case here, I already have the DirSync installed, and this is the console you see afterwards. So how the synchronization is going, if everything is okay, if there are some errors. By default, the synchronization is done every 30 minutes. That's the default settings. You can change this everything, of course, everything with the PowerShell. So for example, so let's log in to the portal here. In the meantime, I will add additional users here on our local. Let's create user. Let's call it Turnšek, Piromanček. Okay. So we have another user. If we look now, we are in lab 3. So the user here shouldn't be available. No users here. So the next step, if you see it in the at the last slide we had, is that now we have to add the ADFS. So again, we are logged in as into the Windows Server. Go to the Server Manager and normally manage, add roles as you would normally do with Windows Server. So Active Directory Federation Services. Again, as I said, this is demo, so I'm doing this everything on the domain controller. Otherwise, you would do this on separate machine. Okay, so while we are waiting, I will log in here with a different user. So because I will need that user for later on, so otherwise I cannot show you a lot. So this is to synchronize the users. So now it starts synchronizing. If I'm looking here into the console, you will see at the top, yeah, the hour is GMT. So okay, It's not synchronized yet. So, okay. Installation back. Configure. So we have some prerequisite. So with this username, and then you need a certificate for the ADFS. You need a publicly available certificate. So I already prepared the certificate in advance. There is my file server. So we are on the lab 3. Password for certificate. So lab 3, some name. Use some username. Do I have this username already created? Using the same username as we used for the synchronization. You can have external SQL or you use internal database. So next, and then the installation begins, and you get the whole ADFS Active Directory Federation services installed and prepared for use with the Azure Active Directory. So let's see if we are more lucky with the synchronization. So 12 adds. If I click here, you see the username when this opens. So Turnšek, Turnšek with the capital letters, and let's go to groups again. So you see Turnšek, Turnšek is here. Okay, to test that this Turnšek, Turnšek is working, we'll log in with this user. So we see all the data here. Tools, again, use in private browsing. Let's go to Azure, Microsoft.com. So we created username Turnšek. So you see now I logged in to the Azure infrastructure. I'm still on the Azure if you look on the top. So I was able to log in. So now this installation will take some time. Let's see, maybe it's already finished, so it's not. So that's the reason I also prepared another lab where we have this ADFS already installed. So we are already a step ahead. So lab 1 in this case. So here we have ADFS installed. So we can look. You see ADFS here is installed. If I go to the Internet Explorer, log in with this super user again to see that lab 1 is also configured. I'm already logged in here with enough privileges. So while we're waiting for this to log in, the last step we have to change. So after we installed ADFS, so in normal scenario, we would also install the Adfs Proxy, and the proxy would be available on the internet. So the proxy is just the reverse HTTPS, let's say, role in the Windows server, and you just enable that so that the users from the internet connect to your ADFS internal ADFS servers, and then the ADFS servers are connecting to the local Active Directory. So you see here the domain is still not, let's say, configured for single sign-on. So that's the last part after installation of ADFS has to be done. Of course, it's done with the PowerShell. So okay, it's a long command. Paste, and we are working here with the lab 1. Let me show you also lab 1. So okay, before I type in here, let's go to lab 1. It's not lab 4. So verified, it's not configured yet. Okay. So lab 1. So convert domain to federated, and then this is basically the only command you have to type in. And the last one is to speed up everything, is that you also update the mail federation domain. So with this, we will see that then this Turnšek can log in on our infrastructure, and all this stuff will be done. And not to wait here because we are already a little bit over the time. It's also, I also prepared the end stage, let's say, so I can use again the private in browsing, log in again, and if I log in now with lab 02 row BC, and now you see as soon as I press tab, you see I'm redirecting. The system is redirecting me somewhere else. And since this is Internet Explorer, I get the prompt. If there would be, I don't know, Firefox or Chrome, it would be forum authentication. So I'm now lab 02 Turnšek. Or if this is, let's say, the computer in your domain, then also single sign-on is working. So you're not even prompted for the authentication. So you see, this was the last step. So what we did here in all these labs. So first we installed the DIRSync or AD Connect, configure it. Then we also installed the Adfs and changed domain to be from domain to be federated. So that's, let's say, in half an hour, short overview. So in purpose to let's say save some time, I had to jump from one lab to another. Otherwise, we would just wait for 10 to 15 minutes for installation to complete. But nevertheless, even with all the installation, I think that this procedure can be done in 2-3 hours without any problem from anybody who has some, let's say, basic IT knowledge. We'll have this let's say webinars periodically on the other topics related to Azure. So thank you for today, and see you soon in the next webinar. Thanks, guys.